Here we are again then, another Regen Rovers recap. Welcome to the 17th season review. And what a season it was for Regen Rovers. We qualified for the Champions League twice this season in a sort of weird way, because we qualified via the league by finishing 4th, and we also qualified via the Europa League because of course we won the final against Chelsea. We'll have a look at that in a second, but the league campaign was special. 23 wins, 9 draws, only 6 defeats all season, a plus 28 goal difference, pretty solid defence, decent attack, 78 points. We finished above Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool. However, if we want to win the league, we're going to have to somehow beat Spurs. Only 1 defeat all season for them. They are insane. They won the Champions League again this season for the 2nd season in a row. And I think this is their 3rd title in a row in the Premier League. Let's just check. Yep, that's right. 3 league titles in a row. And this was the best yet. 99 points. Unstoppable. Watford, Burnley and West Brom relegated. The squad, all of them, they were heroes. They were all magnificent in their own way, depending on what competitions they took part in. But yeah, it really was a special season. I'll just scroll down. Very few defeats in there. Crashed out in the League Cup quite early on against West Brom. But the Europa League was special, of course. In fact, I will show you the Europa League in a bit more detail. So we did actually concede 2 goals in our opening game against Marseille, but we managed to win the next 5 games after that draw against Marseille. And we went through to the first knockout round to take on the surprise package Kilmarnock. We managed to scrape past them 2-1 on aggregate. We thrashed Sporting Lisbon 5-0 on aggregate. We thrashed Wolfsburg 5-1 on aggregate. We then defeated Napoli 4-2. 2 goals from Mark Ball in very late on in the first leg. What a legend. Absolutely. He also scored in the quarter-final, remember. And then in the final, 2-1 win against Chelsea. Carlo Navarrete opened the scoring with a fantastic free kick. Roberto Martinez equalised for Chelsea before Anthony won it with a penalty in the 72nd minute. I don't think we deserve to win this competition after 2 fantastic campaigns. Of course, semi-final last year, final this year, and we obviously won it. It really was a special season. And let's have a look at the players now, actually. Let's look at the statistics. I didn't actually show this in the last episode. The player that actually made the most starts was Rios and Adrian Smith, 45 appearances each. But the player with the most appearances this season was actually Torsten Lenz, our Austrian left winger, 37 starts, 11 sub-appearances. So he appeared in the most games. And he was a great player, I must say. Now, there will be a player of the season poll. I'll try and remember to link it in the description below. If it's not there, head over to the Regen Rovers Twitter feed. I'll do 2 semi-finals as usual, so 8 players in total up for the award. The top 2 from each semi-final will go through to the final, and then you can vote for your player of the season. I think this will probably be the first year that Mark Ball is not involved. He played well in the games he played, but he wasn't as heavily involved because the likes of Anthony played up front. Wow, he was a bargain, really. He only cost £16 million from Leeds. Things are going down for him at the moment. I don't know if it's because it's the end of the season and he's decided to go on a cruise or something and consume huge amounts of food. Who knows? He deserves it. Although cruises are bad for the environment. But yeah, Anthony with 19 goals this season in his debut season. Not bad at all. A few penalties in there. We didn't really have a prolific striker. We just shared the goals around the team. Carlo Navarrete, 2nd top goal scorer this season. Scored more last year. He scored 22 last year in all competitions. 16 this year. So 38 goals in his 2 seasons at the club. Lots of assists as well. Heavily involved. He's a bargain, really. £14 million. Torsten Lenz was pretty expensive. He cost £24 million, despite being quite an old player for that much. I mean, in the league was fairly average, I suppose. But Europa League, he actually finished, I think, 2nd in the player of the season, or in the Europa League. He scored 16 goals in all competitions, 14 for us. 2 were for his previous club before he left. 10 assists as well, but he actually got 5 of them before he left the club. He got only 5 assists for Regen Rovers this season. But overall, I'm impressed with him. He really is a bit of a goal machine from that left-hand side. Suffolk Kelechi also, £30 million signing. Was kind of second choice behind Anthony in that role. But he got 12 goals in all competition. It's not a bad start to his Regen Rovers career. And then Mark Ball down in 5th place, despite playing a lot of games off the bench and in and out the team. But he still managed to get Quite a few goals. Jasakovic up there as well. Assist-wise, no one really ran away with this. Christian ends up with the most assists because he played the least games out of the 3 players that got 8 assists. It's then Matt Smith and then Carly Navarrete. Matt Smith, obviously our most expensive signing ever, signed for £65 million. And he's worth it. He's exceptional. He's a wonder kid. He's already got 6 caps for England and a goal at the age of 19. Man of the match-wise, Navarrete with 7. Wouldn't be surprised if you vote for him for Player of the Season, despite maybe not standing out as much this year. But, he picked up lots of Man of the Match awards, contributed goals and assists, good average rating. He's reliable up front. Anthony also 6 Man of the Match awards, but possibly a player that could win the Player of the Season award. Maybe one of our 2 centre-backs. Kefren Rios just keeps getting better. He had a really good season last year, slightly better average rating in the league. And overall, a better average rating, I suppose. But this year, in a team that won the Europa League, finished 4th, so important for us at the back. I think last year his average rating was boosted by all those goals he managed to score from corners. He scored 5 less this year. But at the back, probably more solid defensively. Alongside his new partner, Isidora Rodriguez, who I'm hoping to sign. I have continued into the future, and I will show you a couple of weeks down the line at the end of this episode. I'm hoping to sign him. We obviously had him on loan from Atletico Madrid this season, but he was magnificent. 2nd highest average rating at the club this season in all competitions. Just so brilliant alongside Rios. Maybe having a Spanish-speaking centre-back partnership worked wonderfully. As you can see, 2nd on the average rating list. Will Loader ahead of him, but he played mainly weaker teams. 10 Premier League games. The Europa League, I suppose he featured in the easier games towards the start of the season. The cup competitions, the Hampshire Senior Cup. He might have played the odd game in there, but his average rating's obviously been boosted by playing slightly weaker opposition. But he is a good centre-back. He's a brilliant backup to have. Mark Gale as well, likewise. Really good backup. 2 3-star players as backup at centre-back for, the quality that we have. He's both of them, really good players. And both of them excel when they're required to. When they need to come into the team, they play well. But all the defence, most of them up there. Rey Henriquez had a really good season at right back. I don't know if I need to sign a better right back because he's actually really good. I think people were a bit disappointed by him last year. And yes, maybe his league average rating isn't the best. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we need to find a right back who's good in the league because Rey Henriquez tends to play well in the cup competitions and in Europe. But in the league, maybe not so much. Canadian Rodriguez disappointed me. I mean, most of the players, to have every player with a 6.82 or above this season, I think that's pretty good going. It shows how good a season we had because sometimes we'd have players, very few players with over a 7 or maybe no players over a 7 a couple years. But yeah, overall, the ratings of the team, they all really did contribute this season. Even Novak, who perhaps disappointing in his first half of season for the club, signed in January, of course. He's got good attributes. He needs to play better. But, he scored his first goal in the Europa League for the club. Premier League, not great. Needs to improve. We've got some valuable players these days. Navarrete is top, £44 million. Matt Smith 2nd. There's a few contracts running down. I'm probably going to let Raymond Coos go. Although, having said that, he's maybe a good backup for Matt Smith. I don't know. Maybe I'll try and find someone else to play there as backup for Matt Smith. Canadian Rodriguez, I don't think there's any point renewing his... I mean, he's obviously leaving the club because he's on loan and he's 32. I don't think I'd want to sign him permanently. Don't think I'll try and get him back on loan. I obviously want to sign Isidoro Rodriguez. I'll probably try and get Aloisi back on loan. Bit of a wonder kid, central midfielder. He played well. He came into the team when required and played well. So those are the players with contracts running up. Most of them obviously on loan. Mark Ball next season. Adrian Smith, Will Loader. A few players have their contracts running out next season. Need to think about that, I suppose, and decide what to do long term. If we just stick the under 23s in as well, just to have a quick look at some of them. So David Okoro, actually... average rating wise, when we include some of the under 23 players, it looks quite different because these players played in the Hampshire Senior Cup, of course. Gary Whittingham, our 16-year-old striker, with 5 goals in that particular competition, which is not bad going. I know it's very weak opposition though, but it's still good to see. David Okoro is an absolute legend, isn't he? And he's still here, still our third choice goalkeeper, which is hilarious, really. By the way, I think I've already mentioned, and I've put it on Twitter, Ray Rigg is retiring in June, which is sad to see, but he's obviously not played first team football in the league since the National League days. I'm not sure he's ever featured in a league game since then. I'm curious now. Has he featured? I don't know. He hasn't. He's obviously played Hampshire Senior Cup, the odd cup game here and there, but he's not played a league game for the club since 10 years. 10 years, pretty hilarious. But he's still here. Well, he's leaving. Be good if we could sign him as like a coach or something. That would be nice. So yeah, brilliant stuff from the entire team. But you're probably interested in all the awards. So I can announce that Navarrete has managed to win the Fans Player of the Season award with 37% of the vote, just ahead, 11% ahead of Rios. And he finished 3% ahead of his centre-back partner, Isidoro Rodriguez. So Navarrete, I think, will probably be added to the favoured personnel list, I would imagine. We'll have a look at the goal of the season in a second. Torsten Lenz, signing of the season. Isidoro Rodriguez, young player of the season. And the team of the season this year was this: Adrian Smith, Regen Rovers, Rodriguez, Rios, Smith, Novak, Van den Broek, Agra, ahead of Tarasenko, Lenz on the left, Navarrete and Anthony. Maybe that's a position I can improve. Deep line playmaker, bring someone in who's really good. Can't really argue with that team, I don't think. This is the overall best 11, which is pretty messed up sometimes. I mean, why is Adrian Burrows at left back? I have no idea. Godwin's in there. Parry Miles is in there. Mark Ball's up front alongside Agu. Cochrane on the right hand side. Interesting. There's probably a few notable exceptions there because this does seem to mess up. It is quite irritating. We'll have a quick look at the record, shall we? Don't know if much has changed. Obviously, Matt Smith's our most expensive transfer ever. Highest transfer fee received is Alan Stewart, of course. Stuart Bigg, who managed to score 19 goals in all competitions for Preston this season. Not bad. I think he's repaid his fee there. It's his most league goals he scored in one season. We'll have a look at the other divisions in a bit. Mark Ball is 2 goals away from scoring 200 league goals for the club, by the way. He obviously is our most the best goal scorer ever at the club. So, top goal scorer. He's got over 250 goals in all competitions for the club now. What a legend. 251. New additions to this list. So, I think there isn't any. I don't think there's any new ones this year. But Navarrete's moved up to 12th. Okoro's now got 47 goals. He scored a penalty in the Hampshire Senior Cup this season. Chisakovic has moved up to 32. Perry Miles also scored a goal in the Hampshire Senior Cup, so he's got 25 goals in all competitions now for the club. Most appearances, Okoro's still almost 60 ahead of Mark Ball. So if we play another couple seasons, Mark Ball might overtake Okoro, depending on how much he plays, of course. So we've got 3 players with over 400 appearances for the club. It's pretty special. There's a few new additions. Raymond Coos is on there. Will Loder's on there. Luke Clark managed to get on the list before leaving in January. Also, Catherine Rios has now appeared. 27th highest number appearance maker. Regen Rovers has moved up to 22nd with 150. We've got Adrian Smith, 173 appearances for the club now. He's been here a few seasons. And Chisakovic up in 15th. Yeah, some real legends there. These are the stats. So obviously I document the season as we progress through. A few people have been asking me to do sort of where are they now videos. I've done quite a lot of these sorts of things in these recaps, but I'm guessing not everyone watches them. At the end of the series, I'll probably do something like where are they now, or what happened to some of the legends. We might have to find some old save files because some players will have retired. Patrick Malone, remember him? He's retired as a player just now. In fact, he's become a fitness coach. He's our youngest ever goal scorer, still at the age of 15 years, 343 days. Luke Mooney, he's become a physio, so he's retired as well. And he retired last season. So Luke Mooney's now a physio. Fascinating. Obviously, the biggest news today, hopefully you'll be able to see the new stadium, or see the announcement of the new stadium. Well, that maybe I'll save that for the next video. Perhaps we'll do a big friendly in the new stadium. That'll be the first ever match. I think it's going to be called Regen Rovers Stadium, we might want to change it to like, it could be named after me, it could be named after Mark Ball. Maybe we'll do some sort of poll on that. Either keep it as Regen Rovers Stadium. There'd be 3 options. Keep it as Regen Rovers Stadium, rename it to Paul Holden Warren Arena or something. We can think of the details. We'll just decide who it should be named after, I suppose. Anyway, shall we move on? Let's have a look at the Bruno Agra goal of the season according to the game. There wasn't as many standout goals this season. I mean, last year's was obviously that Mark Ball wonder goal. But this one was a beautiful strike. It probably is the standout long-range goal from this season. Beautiful goal from Bruno Agra. That's the season review. 2021, where are they now? Quite a few years ago now. Obviously a goo. I think this is actually... Is it Josh? That's Josh Mann, isn't it? But he was... his name's gone because it was a nickname, and when they retire they lose a name. Paul McCann, of course, retired a long time ago. Sean Walker retired a long time ago as well. Constantino retired at the age of 21. I mean, all these players. Godwin's still playing. He's 31 now, playing for Peterborough North Star. I think we look at him every year, and I still say he's still playing for Peterborough North Star. Matthew Avison is a manager at Hythe. When did he stop being a player? He stopped being a player only a year or two ago. So he's become a manager. That's interesting, isn't it? Matthew Avison. What about Max Keane, retired ages ago? Assini, he's still playing. He's still playing for Glebe. He's been there quite a few seasons now. In the Hellenic League this year. And of course, David Okoye on goal. The bench of Morgan Fawkes, absolute legend. Sam Topless. Probably don't remember him. Perry Miles, of course, is still here. Jason McGee. Tried at the age of 26. Gus Owusu, he's become a director of football. So he retired a couple of years ago. Now he's a director of football. He's not actually a bad scout. Could maybe sign him as a scout. I can't sign him. Why am I not allowed? Is he actually properly retiring? I'm not allowed to sign him. That's a bit irritating. Tom Blankley. I forgot about him. There's so many players. I remember Callum Courtney. He was actually quite good for a time for the club. I think that's everything for this, isn't it? So Torsten Lenz picked up the 2nd place in the player of the season in the Europa League, which is good to see. We also had Lenz, Aloisi, Navarrete and Mark Ball in the squad of the season. But Mark Ball leading the line with 5 goals in 9 games in this competition. Really good stuff from him. Let's have a quick look at the stats then. I always find this quite interesting. Player of the match. Do we have anyone on here? Oh, Anthony's on there with 5. Navarrete, Catherine Rios. Distance covered. No one on here. But maybe per game we'll have someone on here. Yes, we do. Lenz, second place. Tarasenko, Vandenbroek, Luke Clark. I suppose we've rotated quite a lot, which is why they don't feature on the overall list. But when you're looking at the averages of the season, Isidoro Rodriguez, joint 14th best player this season, average rating wise. Headers 1. He's on there as well. Brilliant stuff. Goals wise, like I said, we didn't really have anyone prolific this year, but Anthony's the 9th top goal scorer in the league. Navarrete joint 2nd. Average minutes per goal, Anthony's up there in 7th. Shots, Navarrete with 4th. Shots on target, he's 5th. Shots on target percentage, Lenz is up there. I remember Mark Ball was always at the top of this, but he's didn't play as much this year, so maybe he didn't play enough to feature, or perhaps he just wasn't quite so good getting his shots on target this year. Conversion rate, there's Anthony in 6th. What about some assists? Matt Smith, 19th, not bad. Key passes, we're not really into the whole passing thing, are we? Chances created, Christian's on there. Pass completion, I doubt we'll be on here because that's just not our style, is it? Maybe cross completion ratio. Yeah, Tarasenko and Matt Smith up there. Defending wise, tackles per game, we don't have anyone on there. Key tackles, Catherine Rios 2nd, along with Isidoro Rodriguez, so they're both joint 2nd. Key headers, Rios on there, Isidoro Rodriguez on there, interceptions made, Rodriguez on there. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, looking at this? But I think we'll move on now. I will continue into the future a bit. We'll have a look at the leagues, we'll have a look at a few other bits and bobs. Let's have a look at some of the other leagues and the other competitions then, and then I'm going to play a bit more into the future, and we'll see what's happening come the end of June. So the Championship Palace, Leeds and Cardiff have been promoted, so Leeds back in the top flight. As a Palace, we signed Safik Kalechi from them, didn't we? League 1, Sheffield Wednesday, Bristol Rovers and Coventry promoted. You can have a look at the teams relegated. You can use your eyes. League 2, Oxford, Wigan, Oldham and Port Vale promoted. National League was won by Boston, with Kettering going up to the Football League. We've then got the National League North, won by Hartlepool and Halifax Town. And the National League South, Billericay and Thatcham promoted. I just want to have a look to see what's happened to Winchester City. They've been relegated a couple of times. So they finished 4th in the Southern League Division 1 West. I think they're back pretty much where they started. No, they were actually promoted to that division at one point, weren't they? But yeah, it's where are they playing these days? Because of course they were playing in our old stadium for a while. And they're back in their stadium now after many years away. But yeah, they've dropped all the way down the leagues. Most of our rivals are very low down, aren't they? The FA Cup, won by Spurs on penalties. They beat Tottenham, so they denied Spurs from winning that competition. League Cup, won by Man City, beating Watford in the final. The Champions League was won by Spurs 4-0. They absolutely mutilated Atletico Madrid. They really do have a ridiculously good team, don't they? And I almost forgot to mention that we managed to win the Hampshire Senior Cup for a 5th season in a row, beating Tottenham 3-1 in the final. Can't seem to click on it for some reason. But yeah, look at all those wins that we've had now. Domination. Good to see. Anyway, I've played quite far into the future. And actually, quite funnily enough, we're signing Ray Rigg. So he's retired from football, but he's become a scout. He is terrible. He's got 2 on judging player ability, 2 on judging player potential, but I just had to sign him. I feel sorry for him. He's never going to get a job with that. So it's kind of a risk-free move because we're able to have loads of scouts these days. It's not like he's going to become a coach and ruin our team. He's going to become a scout. He can go off and do his own thing. I can send him to somewhere like Cambodia to do some scouting or something. And he can just suggest a random guy to me and maybe I'll just sign him just because I feel sorry for old Ray Rigg. He's obviously got his wig shop still, by the way. Still occasionally goes up to a player in their sleep and cuts their hair off and turns it into a wig. I'm surprised that some of our players haven't sued him yet, to be honest. And some other good news for him is that he's made it onto the Icons list. So upon retiring, he's moved from favoured personnel to Icons, which is fantastic to see. Mark Ball and myself still on that Legends list with the 4 legends from the previous series. Marcus Higgins, Assini, Ray Rigg and Navarrete is on the Icons list. David Okoro and Agu on favoured personnel. I don't know why favoured personnel is a bit of a strange list because it makes you think favoured personnel at the moment. So players at the club right now. I mean, Agu's obviously not here. So I suppose he could be working in the cafeteria with chef, being a sous chef or something. Let's have a quick look at our rivals. We've had a look at Winchester City. Ebbsfleet are in League 2. They finished 13th this season. Poole Town are in the National League South, which isn't too bad. Hartley Wintney, who we destroyed early on, are in the Hellenic League. Poor them. And of course Winchester all the way down there these days. I think that's pretty much it. I can confirm that we have moved into our stadium though. That's the biggest news of the lot, I suppose. Let's just have a quick look at the facilities. And I can show you the Regen Rovers Stadium. It's good to see. Still training at Plumbing Park, interestingly. So, Plumbing Park still exists as a training ground with a 9,000 seater capacity. It's not been destroyed. We've built the new stadium in an adjacent field to Plumbing Park. So, it's sort of south of Winchester, near the M3. We've had a new train station built for it as well. So, it's kind of South Winchester train station, which is good for matches, of course. It's got the ability to expand to about like 40,000, I think. So there really is potential to make this a very, very big stadium at some point. But at the moment, it's a 24,375 seater capacity stadium. I'm hoping we can play Champions League football in that size of stadium. I really hope we can. Oh, my voice, it's gone weird. I really hope we can, because it'd be a shame if we can't. But it's weird that we've still got Plumbing Park as like the training complex. It's still called Plumbing Park. And now we've got Regen Rovers Stadium as our stadium and also the youth stadium. But yeah, no, it's good. I'm pleased Plymouth Park wasn't demolished to build the Regen Rovers Stadium. It would have been a shame because, of course, it's not that old. It's only 18 years old, so it'd be a bit of a waste to knock it down. But yeah, Regen Rovers Stadium, it's in perfect condition, I presume. Yeah, pitch condition perfect, stadium condition very good, as it should be. It's literally just a few days old. I'm looking forward to playing our first match there, and it will be against Real Madrid. I wanted a big one. I wanted to have a real big team to play our first ever home game against, and yeah, it's going to be them. The first ever league game will be against Spurs, interestingly. So that'll probably be a loss. We're going on an American tour. So we're playing local team Handball away from home to start pre-season off. We've then got New York Cosmos, we've got New York City, and then New York Red Bull. I wanted to stay sort of in that area. And then New England, which isn't too far away, I don't think. And then we're coming back to England, taking on Real Madrid in our first ever game at Regen Rovers Stadium, as it's called right now. We're then playing Southampton at home, and then we're playing Tower Hamlets. Nice easy team. Get some goals. Shanghai are coming over. Austria Vienna are coming over. Lots of games in pre-season. I will probably show the Real Madrid game as a sort of one-off video, just to introduce a new stadium. It makes sense, and I'll probably introduce a few new transfers then as well, as we'll be halfway through pre-season by that point. But I hope you're looking forward to next season. Exciting. Really exciting to be able to be back in Winchester playing our first ever Premier League season in Winchester. We're playing in the Champions League, of course. We have qualified for... Have we qualified for the group stage or automatically? Yeah, we have. We've also got the Super Cup to look forward to. So that'll be in a couple episodes' time. We'll probably play Leeds on the opening day of the season and then Spurs in the Super Cup, which will most probably be a defeat, but you never know. We might be able to pull off a miracle. We've then got the Champions League to look forward to. And it's just been revealed that Football Manager 2020 isn't being released until the 19th of November. The beta will be out probably around about the 4th or 5th. So I've actually got almost 3 weeks, I think. Yeah, probably 3 weeks until the beta comes out. So that's plenty of time to hopefully finish this season, this Premier League season. And then we'll see. Well, I mean, if we win the league and we win the Champions League, I think that's the perfect way to end the series. If we don't, then like I've said in recent weeks, I will probably play on, but just do one episode every 10 days or so, or something like that. And we'll play into the future. And it might be very slow going. It might take a long time to get to a point where I want to finish it. I mean, we're very unlikely to win the league next season. We're very unlikely I think we're more likely to win the Champions League than the league, because Spurs are just so dominant. Obviously, they'd be favourites for the Champions League as well, but we might be able to avoid them in some weird way. But yeah, it's going to be tough, whatever happens. But I think we'll have a fruitful season again next year, and hopefully be able to win a cup or two, not just the Hampshire Senior Cup. Hopefully, even if we don't win the Premier League or the Champions League, hopefully we can win the FA Cup or the League Cup or something like that. But we will end it there. Thank you for watching the 17th review. Thank you for your support. Remember to go and vote for your player of the season on Twitter, etc. And I will see you in our new stadium very soon.